Guys, welcome to the part 2 of Art with Blender Unity. So we have like just an hour, and I know how time flies when we are having fun. So sorry for last time I didn't like with the noise in the background. I hope it's better this time. I hope you can hear me. I hope I okay. So I was having issues with my Unity, but it's been resolved. Those can help me with that. Yeah. Oh, come on. I don't know. Every time I think it's 8 o'clock. This Muslim people call it. I think it was 7. But it's 8 o'clock. They call the prayers. I don't know what's happening. So yeah, just give me a second. Hope you guys can hear this. Ah, okay. I hope it's better now. Oh, I don't know. I can't see hear it. So it'll be done like in a few minutes. So yeah. So let's get to class. So the last class we were trying to build. I don't think I remember where we stopped, but I think we got this shape ready for last class, and I took the liberty of taking it further by now going to add more stuff. I know we got the basic shape out last time for the part 1, but then I took the liberty of, because I know that how time is short, I took the liberty of now going to finish up the rest of it by adding texture with with PBR texture, just to be sure it worked, and it came out looking okay even without us putting. There's no detail on this. Looking at this mesh, there's no detail. It's just the same basic mesh. Like, it's just basic square. Like, I didn't even bother to smoothen it out or add more polygons, just because I'm trying to make sure it flows very well in real time. And with the texture so convincing, I got this texture from Texture Haven. It's let me show you the link. I got from Texture Haven. It's a free website for, hold on, Polyhaven. Okay. So it's a free website for textures and 3D, but I use it mostly for textures. They have really, really good textures and HDRIs. You'd be amazed how free stuff can look so good, right? So going to textures, I found one called Red Mod. Red Mod. And I think it's this Red Mod with stones. So this is the one I use, this texture I used. Red Mod with stones. It's a PBR texture. I downloaded the 2K version, and it came out fine. And as you can see in my blender, it came out very convincing. So I'm going to just run us through how I quickly did that, how I quickly just run through. And then if you look at the top, this top here, so I tried experimenting with different ways to make a convincing thatch roof, for the hut that would not be expensive if this for any build, that if the person is building for a PC and eventually want to take it down to a mobile phone, I wanted the build that will not be expensive, not be tasking. So if most of us are convinced that are familiar with 3D designs for character for real time, especially like character designs for like iClone, Character Creator, DAS sometimes, although that's heavy hairs, they or MetaHuman, they use hair cards mostly for those elaborate hairs you're seeing, because they want that stuff to run in real time, and the hair cards run properly in real time. So I tried to use that same model, that same mentality to build a thatch roof that will look convincing enough as a thatch roof, but still in game engine, and still not be expensive, right? So I came up as I used flat planes to create this. So where I got this thatch roof from, I got it from Sketchfab. Let me show you guys from Sketchfab where I got it. I got it from Sketchfab. I think it is Hay House. So it's created by an artist called AAA 40401. That's what it's called. So it's a 34 MB file. All I wanted was the hay for the roof. I needed that to achieve what I wanted to. I saw other hay, but they were all geometry, and I was trying to reduce as much geometry as I could. I didn't want to take. I wanted to see how I can cheat as little geometry as possible and still make a convincing hut. So I took this into Blender, imported into Blender because it's a 3D file, but it's an FBX file. I took it into Blender and I detached it from roof, and I took off. I hit the other parts. Let me show you. And let me see what I think it is. This. Yes, and I took the roof. So this is the roof here. I took this roof and I separated it, and then in Blender I went to the edit mode with this, tab into the edit mode here, and I was able to now say, now what do I want to do? I want to separate these objects, right, into different like slides I can now take to make a roof. So what I did was, let me go back. I first duplicated Shift D to duplicate this to make a separate plane, because I want to keep the original. I don't want it, missing. It might come in handy. And then I went into the tab to go into edit mode. Sorry, I got feedback how I needed to. Sorry, I can't see I'm not looking at the YouTube, so I don't know if there's interaction like comments. But I will try and I'll do my best to check the YouTube. Okay. So right now I've duplicated this mesh. I want to slice it into pieces to make the roof pieces we saw on my thatch roof here. So let me take them. Sorry, let me just bring it here. So I will duplicate this. It's duplicated already. So object mode, move to, and I bring it to scale it down. And let me put on my screencast key so at least you can see part of what I'm doing. So I was looking for a better screencast key. I couldn't find any, but this is one I found, and at least it shows like text of my last click, for example, this. So I hope this will be enough to help people like full up. So let me flip this around. So if you're just joining now, I'm just trying to explain how I made this thatch roof for this hut. It's a flat plane, and I used I thought about how I was going to. I experimented with different ways. I could have made it more realistic, but the aim of this class is to make a mesh you can take into a game engine, and that will look convincing but still not be expensive if you're making a product for PC or mobile, right? So you want to squeeze out as much quality as you can squeeze out, but still not cost out overhead RAM where your system the game is it looks good, but it can't be played on phones because it's too tasking on the RAM. So I need to focus more on less polygons and use more textures and push them to PBR textures, and convince with layers and just some trick with light to make convincing looking objects that will appear high quality but still not be expensive. So that's how I got this roof. To get this thatch roof you're seeing right now, I could have gone online to search for any thatch roof image, but I wanted to use this. Like I said, I'm just a one-man team and I'm trying to work fast. So I go to sketchfab a lot. I went to sketchfab to search for hay for roof, and this is what I got. One of the interesting ones I got was this flat plane. Somebody did this. An artist called AAA 40401. So I imported this object into Blender. I deleted the house. I just wanted the roof. So that's the roof you're looking at right now in Blender. This. So what I'm going to do now is I will first go to edit mode. I want to show how it broke into pieces. I went into edit mode, tab into edit mode, or I can just go to up here, object mode, and go to edit mode. And then I added subdivides. I subdivided it. So this way, I'm able to, I will have enough to break it apart to create roof pieces for myself to cover the roof, right? So by doing that, what I did is this. The next I did was I went to my selection and I selected parts, this part. Sorry, let me go to X-ray. So, so I took this one piece now. Next I did was I separate. I want to separate this part from the mesh. I want to separate them into pieces so I can take into different parts, right? So what I did was I separated into pieces. Hold on, I need to check the YouTube. Let me see what comments are like. I'm sorry. I think I will go to the live. I don't know how to access the live. I don't know how to access the live. Oh, okay. I don't know how to access the live. Okay, there are no comments here. So cool. Okay. Okay, there are no comments yet. So cool. So no comments yet. So yeah. So I'm going to go back to separating here. So what I did here now is while this is separated, while I've selected this part because it's broken into 4 different parts now, and I want to use them to put them together to form the roof, the thatch roof. This object I made here, right? How I made it, all I did was I went here, I went to this part, and I would just go and say either I would say the shortcut is P to separate, or I think I can go to the edge. Is it edge or mesh? Yes, I'll go to the mesh on the top, and I will come down to separate, and I can choose separate by selection. And by doing that, I've separated this part from the part I selected. Tab into object mode. Now I can move this separately, but the center is not proper. It's what I need to do after I've separated it. I have to center it to the origin, right? So I'll just go to while it's selected in object mode. While that part is selected, I'll go to object mode, object, set the origin, and say origin to center of mass. I need to give me this. So now I'm controlling this object, and I'll do that the same for the rest. So I'll just go back into edit mode quickly. I will select the next piece, and I would click on P, the shortcut for separate by selection, and tab back into object mode, and I have a separate piece. Sorry, I need to let go of that. Click on this one piece, separate here, and I will center it. Object, center of origin, set origin to center of mass, and I'll go back. I'll do that till I have 4 pieces. These are the 4 pieces I would now duplicate round to cover the rooftop, right? Or to create the thatch roof. It's like if you've made hair for real-time characters in game engines, you will know that there's something called hair card in Blender. The hair card is just a cheap way of making hair that look convincing, but it's not expensive because the polygons are very light. It's just a flat plane, and it will not take much RAM in RAM if you're rendering real time, right? Because it's very expensive. If you're putting real hair, it will cost a lot on your system to make your system slow or to make games slow. Nobody uses real hair in the game, I don't know, except maybe if you're expecting PlayStation 5 to play it. Okay, so let's go back to tab into this mode still for the last piece. Sorry, hold on. I didn't get the last piece. Okay, now I have this. Now I would click on P, separate, P, separated, tab back into object mode, select this piece, and then I'll center it. Object, set origin, center of mass. I have to do it for the last one, because the last one too doesn't have that. Object, set origin, center of mass. So now we have 4 pieces of flat, hay-looking thatch roof that we can place around the rooftop to make it look like as if to make it look like hay, right? So like there's a thatch roof on the roof, right? So I will now start moving them to. So we're going to do that on the other one, this. So let's click this. Let me move this. No, sorry. I think this. Okay, I can hide this, and let's hide the final. That's hot one. Wow. I think if you notice when I try to hide this one, the mesh is still attached to this place. The one of the mesh is still part of. So that's probably this, not this. This one, this one, two roofs. I need to go to. Wow, I made a mistake. I would have named them separate objects. So this cylinder shouldn't be here. It should be in this. Hold on, it should be. So let me select all this. And okay, I see what happened. I have a few files, so let me be sure. Hold on. 18 to 10, then this. These are all one separate hot. I mistakenly put them together in one piece, and that was wrong. So I'm going to separate it now. So if you missed the part one, how I make separate collections or groups in Blender of mesh object, 3D object, is simply you select every object you want to be in one category or in one group, and then you, while they're all selected and your mouse is in the viewports, you just click on M. M will bring up a menu that says move to collection, where you can create a new collection and put stuff in. So let me say I'll click on this now, name the new collection hot 2. And I'll say enter, and then enter again. And now all these files will be in a folder called hot 2. And this is hot 2 now. And if I can turn it off and it will be separate, all of it will be turned off. Wow, okay, this cylinder is still here. Sorry. Cylinder is still here. So this cylinder now, I need to get this, and I'll move it to M. Not only can you make a new collection if you click on the M, you can also move objects to a collection. So we made hot 2 and we forgot to move the cylinder, the body into it. So I'll just click on hot 2 now because I want this file selected to be in hot 2. So let me show you. So this particular file now, the hot 2, I want it to be in a folder called, in a group called hot 2. So all I need to do is click on M while holding it, sorry. So click on M on the keyboard, click on hot 2, which is a group we made. I need to be in the hot 2 now. So now it's now all hot 2 files and all hot 2 objects are now in hot 2. So that's that. Close this. The aim is to close hot 1 and the roof. We don't want this roof. We want to. So now let's now focus on making a new thatch roof. So to make this roof now, we're trying this is, you can see this is the basic object we made in the tutorial 1. Now we're about to add this roof to it on this. So let's take the roof, move it here. So what I did is I brought the roof in, and I think I should just take all of them and then make them a certain size so that I can just scale them uniformly. Scale them in, bring them here, and just quickly place them around the roof. I might not totally do this, but just to give you an idea of how I achieved this, what I'm trying to just do. So, one of the things I realized about this particular object here is I need to first change the coordinates on it to local because it's using a global. It's on local right now, and yes, let's rotate 2 should be on local, and then now I can quickly rotate this to suit. I can also go into the edit mode, grab this top, and then move them a certain way. Move them just like this. Just move them the way I see fit. And go back into object mode. and I can begin to start just placing them around. And another thing I need to do, because rotating it, if I'm trying to rotate it right now, I'll have the issue of trying to rotate it to be hard. So what I need to do is I want to change the origin to the tip so I can rotate it around quickly. And this one is not really the right object for me to use. I think it's very slanty. So let me go to pick the middle one. This is more centered and a lot more better. Okay, this is the better one version. So I will first move the center of origin to the tip to give me more controls over the object, right? So click on this, go to the origin. So on the right side of your blender, you can find the cursor. It's something you can use to change the cursor, the center of origin of any object as you customize it. So I'm just going to click, selecting that particular option too. I click on the top here, and I will go to the top here, object, and say set origin to 3D cursor. Now, if I go and select my move tool or my rotate tool, I can control it from that particular pivot point, right? So that's one way to change things to commit to suit how you operate in 3D. So now we have this here. What we need to do now is I need to make it look like, give it like depth, kind of to trick it out to look like depth. I don't want to leave it this flat. So I'll go to the edit mode, tab into edit mode, probably select it all by clicking A and subdivide it a bit, just this subdivide. So I can take this edge and then begin to push it down, begin to give it that back into object mode where I can move it because I don't feel like it's centered here, and then go back to edit mode. Yeah, just quickly, just make a rough pull. I'll just do this one so you can get an idea how I did it. So I can quickly go into the other file because we don't have enough. I want to be able to quickly jump into the Unity part because I feel like the gist is just complete already. So I'm going to do like this. This is just a method for me. I'm just trying to use a method people use to make hair for characters, for real-time characters, to achieve the same effect for making this hot to look at least convincing without being expensive for mobile phone or PC, right? If you bring the object into a mobile phone or PC, it's not be expensive because that's one of the issues. The asset can be very fine, but be useless for a game engine if they can't use it, if it's too heavy, or if it has too many draw core. And no matter how you subdivide it, if you don't plan it, no matter how you decimate it, if you don't plan properly, you might end up having a very ugly asset. We're trying to get a very decent asset at least, even, and still have good quality from our gameplay. So let's say this is what we want. This is fine. I will just come in here. Let me take these ones and just bring it down a bit. Let's bring it down a bit. Sorry. Yeah, so now we have this basic shape now. All I can do is just quickly go back to object mode, hold my shift to pan around, and then begin to duplicate. Remember that we already changed the center of origin, so you will see why I changed the center of origin. Now we can just quickly shift D to duplicate, enter, and then if I click on the rotate tool and I move my object around, sorry, I think this local is really wrong. So let me go to default. Okay, default is fine. If I click on this axis and I rotate it around, I get to easily duplicate the objects and move them around the roof. So this is how I just quickly this is how I just quickly trick it out. Like Shift D. Doesn't look good now, but with more of this to be able to, with more delicate arrangements, we'll be able to achieve something presentable in game engine. Something presentable in game engine. So let's move this around quickly. Wow, it's already 8:25. Man, there's never enough time to do this work. So let me just quickly Shift D, see if I can do this. So, and yeah, we're almost done. Come here, Shift D, enter, and then duplicate. Okay. And so, no matter how it looks right now, we're hoping that when we get into a game engine, you can use things like post processing and lighting to trick it out, do more convincing job. That's where the heavy lifting of the lighting and the shaders and the rendering of the game engine comes into play, and how well you know how to use that engine to squeeze out quality without killing your targeted platform you're trying to get users to play on. So let's say this is just the first layer. We have this basic. Another trick you need to do is what I do again is I will just select so all this roof top. So let me see, this is it. Shift, select all of them. So I have selected all of them right now, and I will duplicate them to another level of roof. Then I will now scale in. I will scale in. First of all, I think I'll first pull it up. Then I will scale in. S to scale in. So what I'm trying to do, oh wow, I'm grabbing stuff I don't need. Okay, we don't need all these ones. I think it's time I delete these ones. I don't need them at all. Take them away. Or I can just make a group and call them unused. Unused. And so I know that I don't need them anymore, and let's turn them off. I'll turn them off. So now I have only these ones in the scene. So because I duplicated those stuff, now I can begin to go into the ones I duplicated. The double. Let me see. Oh wow. Okay. Okay. So let me see. I have this. This is not the one I wanted. There's another one under it. So we go under. They're under. Shift. So these are the smaller ones. I duplicated them and I made them smaller. So I need to get them from under. Sorry, sometimes it's not pretty how we do this work though. I'm trying to go and get them as much as I can. The ones that are under this one. No, not this. So this. No. Okay. This one and this one. Okay, so these are the ones I want to use them to overlap. If you see there's some bound places here, so I want to use it to overlap. You can see now I'm beginning to trick out just with a few Shift D. So I'll just rotate. I don't need to just basically rotate. I don't need to do much. Cover this part. And then rotate this one and just cover this part. So I can just take this and scale it down a bit just to cover the parts. And then the same for other shorter versions I can use to quickly okay. So this is basically what I would do all through, just trying to make sure I'm able to make a convincing looking roof, thatch roof with inexpensive textures or polygons that will still run smoothly on any platform from PC to mobile and still not be completely rubbish. Like so I don't want to go for the most beautiful roof in town that will not run on engine. So let's say this is what we want. Let's say this is fine. Let's quickly go and this is convincing enough. Let's have this. Let's leave this. So now we can just go to the body quickly on the mesh. Let's try and get like a texture. I told you guys that I got this roof. Sorry. I got this roof. Let me go to the I got this. This is the texture I use. It's called the red mud stones. I got it from a site called Polyhaven. Very, very like it's a free site, and they have quality. This texture is 3 years old, but yet it is still high quality. It still did its job right. So I've downloaded it, and I'm going to use it now to texture this. So last class, we got these sticks from sketchfab, and they already came with their textures, right? So now we're going to make this look like a mud wall without having so much polygons. We don't want to go into sculpting. We could sculpt this wall and then bake, but we don't have enough time for that. But and not everybody can do that. Like, it's still tedious. What's the cheapest way you could do this? Cheapest way you could do a convincing hot mud wall is simply texture. So what we need to do now is we need to go into the UV mode. I'm using Blender 3.2. So in case you want to know what Blender I'm using, 3.2. I will go into UV editing mode. So UV editing mode, this was for the roof. I made this for the roof, but I don't need this anymore. So I'm going to make a new, let's just new one. I think I want this to be 4K. 4K is hold on, let me check what the material 4K is. Downloads. Sorry. Okay, so the red material I want to use is called red. What's it called? Not this one. Red mud stones. This is it. So it's a 4K file. Oh, it's a what? Oh, 1,000 by, okay. It's 1K file. I thought I did it 2K. Wow. Let's run with the 1K. It's fine. So this file now we're going to get into, and it came with the materials come with PVR. It comes with the normal albedo image, and then with the normals. This is more than enough for you to make a convincing texture or convince people that this is, like, trick people that it's good texture, right? So I will go into, let's go into Blender now. So this is fine. Let's open this, the texture mode, the UV mode, and then we'll locate our hot, right? Sorry, hold on, where's the hot? Okay, this is it. This is the hot we're trying to wrap this texture around, right? You can see it's a very low poly hot. Look at it, it's very low poly, like this is seriously low poly, right? So I'm going to now do a UV wrap on wrap. So what I need to do is select it, Control A, use A, sorry. A to select it. Immediately I select it, it gives me this whole grid. This shows that I have the hot selected, and this is the just default wrap on wrap, right? We don't, this is not, it doesn't work well most of the time. So what I need to, so let's try it. Let's bring in the material, the image. I will go to open, and I will go to where our hot is, where the file I'm looking for is. It's called this file. So let's go. It's called red mudstones texture. This is the image we're looking for. Bring this in, and if I go to, nothing happens, right? So even if I say assign, nothing happens. It doesn't work. Nothing happens, right? What I need to do now is I need to go into my object here right now. I already have a material on it. We gave a default material, remember, and it was just a color, right? We just go to that base color, click on this yellow dot here. On your right, the material properties, go to the base color, click on this yellow dot by the base color, go to your textures and pick on image texture. When you do that, the hot will turn to black, shows that it's ready for textures, right? And then I'll go to open, and then I will navigate to where that file is, textures here, pick this one, and just accept it. Immediately you will see the texture has come in, but you can see it is stretchy. It's stretchy. It doesn't look good. It's stretchy. The stones, those things like look like stone, don't look okay. It is stretchy and glossy. What we need to do is this. So to do what we need to do now, we've not properly unwrapped it, right? We need to just go. You can either click on U as a shortcut on your keyboard, or you can go to the top bar here when you see UV, click on UV and say Smart UV Project. Click on that. When you click on that, it will give you this menu. Just say OK. And if you notice now, it has gone ahead and properly unwrapped it and set the texture in a way that it is mapped properly now. No stretching on it. There's no stretching all over it, right? You can see it's done that job. It made it no stretching. Then we can go back now to our normal layout. First of all, no, not yet. You have to right now. If you save this file, you better go back. Your material textures will be gone. It's not saved. To save your texture for Blender to remember that this UV mapping is for this, you need to go to your image and then click on save. Click on save. Once you click on save, it will save that particular save. It will save it. Now it's saved now. So what you need to do now is you now come, you go back. Let's go back to our layout. We're done with this mode. Go back to layout. Now we have this texture here, but it's still not convincing enough. We need to go to the shader. If you don't, I have the shader editor to add the normal, right? If you don't have it open to get the shader, if you don't have it open, if what you have is the timeline here, what you need to do is quickly just come down to the timeline icon on here, click the drop down and go to shader editor, and you have this. Then to add the normal, this is where the normal is, the normal map. This is where you're going to plug in the normal to the shader node. To do that, you just have to go to where your file is. My files is here. This is the normal map, the normal image. I'll drag it down into Blender, drop it here. It comes in, but we can't just plug it straight. It's not safe. There has to be a node in between that bridges it, right? To get that node, just click on Shift A to bring up the menu for where the nodes are, and then click on search and then search for normal. Type normal, NOR, to bring the normal map, this normal the list, and you can just pick the second one, normal map. It will bring this node here. Now you have this node. Just connect them, the dots, the color to color, and then connect the normal to normal. And Blender will go ahead and just calculate it. And then if you look at it now, just like that, we have a convincing looking mod wall, like as if we did some texturing. It's inexpensive. We still a very low polygon cylinder, but the image will convince any person, any player, or someone in any game that walks up to it, making it feel like, oh, this is a wall that somebody put their time into, right? I could even go the extra mile to put particles on the wall, but we don't have that time. Time is quickly flying. But I can quickly just show you. Imagine if you wanted to add more details without being too expensive, you get particles and make them stick on the wall. Let me show you how I do that very simply. I could get sticks or stones to make you feel like this. You can see some sticks in the wall I can get particles and put them in the wall, make them attached to the object. So to do that, I need to first import the particular object I need. Let me go and look. I downloaded some files a while back. Let me see. Sketchfab, low poly rocks. Low poly rocks. They are very low poly rocks that are on Sketchfab. I've forgotten what the username is. So this is the guy. This is the file. It's a very light file. All I need to do is import. Let me check. So the file it's an FBX, hopefully. Okay, it's an FBX file. So I can bring that in quickly. So let me just quickly bring that in because time is going. So import. Let's go to import FBX. Let me first click this. Please, is there any? Let me check the YouTube and see if there's any feedback I need to attend to. Okay, none for now. Cool. So yeah, where was I? So this is it. So I'm trying to make particles to stick to the wall, so it looks like there's details in the wall. Let's just quickly do that. I might not do that, but just show you how I can just do that to add more details. I will quickly bring in those very low poly stones and just say import FBX, and I will navigate to my file, and I will look for Sketchfab folder, and then the low poly rocks 3. This, and bring this in. And you can find different rocks here, but you don't have the textures are on. I just need to add the textures. I'll select them all and just go to texture by the properties, base color, click on this, add image, and then I will open this, go back to where it is, and pick rock 1. Is this the rock 1? Let me see. It's rock 14. So I'll go to rock 14. Where's rock 14? Okay, this is rock 14 albedo, the image, and then this. And you can see if you zoom in, rock 14 now has textures now. I Let me pick something else. Let me pick like rock 16, rock 5, rock 20, rock 4. I want something that's not regular. Rock 8. Let's try rock 8. No, let's try rock 4. I'll go to base mesh and base color, sorry. Click on image texture, and I will go to open image, navigate to where the textures are for the rock. Sorry, it's rock 4, right? Rock 4. This is rock 4. Click on this, and I have this rock, and I can go ahead and add a node like normal to the rock 4, right? You can see they already gave us the in between bridge node, but no node texture, right? So let me go back to where the file is. Rock 4 normals. This is it. Drag it into Blender, drop it here, and then connect it, and hopefully it looks a lot better. But this is not the rock we're looking for. I think I need to just quickly go into the image. But let's just leave that. So that's just details I wanted to add that I never added. But let me just quickly show you how I would have added it. So if I wanted to add these stones on the wall to attach to the wall, I will click on this cylinder, this object here. I will go and add particles, add a particle, and change it to hair, and come down and bring that hair. I think I will go to render and change that render part to object. And then that object now, it will ask me what object am I looking for. This is the object here, so I can choose rock 4, right? I can either choose it here or come here, while it's here, go to click on this and go pick rock 4. And you can have these stones all over the body, right? I can control the amount of details. Just bring it down to this scanty. So imagine if it was like a rock, like white rock, something like, or like sticks. I can make it convincing, like as if there are rocks on the wall, there are sticks on the wall, just to make it look like this was a random, but it's not working like we want it to. So let's remove it. So that's just something I wanted to add. But let's say this is what we want. We have this now. We want to export this into Unity, right? So let's delete this. We don't need this anymore. All I need to do is select all of this and say export. Go to file, export, FBX to a file, to a folder. I export it, and that's the unit, that's the file I will export. And click on selected object only, because I want it to take only what I've selected, right? That way, the files, I click on export, it will export that file into the folder with everything we need. But the textures are all outside. Remember that keep track of your textures, because you don't have to bring them in to give you only the file. So let me show you. I've exported mine. Let me show you. If I go in here and I check the hot for Unity, it gave me only this hot file. I had to go and bring in all these textures. Every texture I know I use, I have to bring them in here and brought them into Unity for them to be able to use them. So let me show you. These are the files I made. I've come in here and I had to quickly make files for the hot. Let me see. Where's that hot? Hey, okay, this is the hay house textures, and I had to make a convincing. Sorry. Well, I can't find that file anymore. Anyways, I had to make a adjustment to the hay texture, right? And I'll show how I did that. So let's quickly bring these files into Unity. So I have my Unity open here. This is my Unity open. I open the Unity URP. I prefer the URP because I can still squeeze out good quality, decent quality, and control how my lighting and everything affects my render, right? I can use what they call it, static objects to give me just still render and make sure that every object that is static doesn't take too much light. I can control the quality of. I can control how my rendering goes by using lights that are static, that are not moving, that render, that calculate shadows only once, in one pass. I can and give me like bake the shadow into the map and convincing shadow and still give me only one sunlight for me to use. So shadow is always expensive in game. But let's just go into let me show you how I get it to work. So I will first open a new scene. This is default Unity URP. I'll open a new scene, right? File, new scene, and I will create this new scene. So this is my new scene. I will go ahead and make a folder, create a folder. I can either do it here or I can come in here in the asset and just say create new folder, and I'll call it hot. I'm bringing all the hot assets I made in here. So let me go to my file where it was. This is the hot for Unity. I'll drag all these files into Unity and drag it and drop it here. I need to bring them in, ask me to fix stuff. I said yes, I'm going to fix it. So the mesh is in here. I will first bring the mesh into the scene. So this is my mesh. Right away, you can see some files. The only thing that came in properly was the texture that I made in Unity, this texture on the body. It came in as a PBR and it's still looking as convincing as it was looking, if not better actually. So that's fine. The roof is the issue now. So we don't have the roof, we didn't add the roof texture in the file in this scene. So to do that, I'm going to bring that, go and get the roof texture, which was, so let me get it from in here. That's not it. It is this one. It's in this place. Sorry. Wait. It's in the sketchfab. I didn't bring it out. Hey, files, textures, and then this was the original one file. I had to cut out all the necessaries to make a transparent one because in Unity you couldn't see. So let me show you what happened. So let me just show you what I did. So I'm going to drag it in to Unity, all of them into Unity, and automatically it will select one of the materials, right? So these are the materials selected. If you notice, the edge doesn't have transparency here, and that's because what I brought in didn't have transparency. You can see this part, this one I made here, these parts were still there, and the transparency, Unity transparency, black is what they see as transparency. If you're making a PNG transparency file, black is there. So I have to take this back into a site called Photoshop clone called Photop. So Photop, this is Photop. Sorry, Photop. Photop is a website. It's an online photo editor, Photoshop style editor. So it's free. You can do everything you do in Photoshop in Photop. So I use it a lot because I can't afford Photoshop most of the time. So you can just quickly bring your file here and edit it, do everything you do in Photoshop, and you're good to go. So I edited it in Photop, cut away all the parts I didn't want, and kept only the core touch, and then made the background black, transparent, which was black, and then sent it back into Unity, and that's how I got this file. So now I'm going to click on this. Right now, I can't access, if I click on the HOTS right now, I can't access any of the files, any of the option for the materials. I can't access the materials. To do that, what I need to do is I have to click on the real file I brought in, the source file in the project panel. And I just have to, once I select that, on my right in the inspector, I will find things like the model rig. We don't need anything about this. We just need to materials. And I can go to the location. You see embed location, embedded materials. We have to change it to external legacy and apply. Immediately I do that and I go back to my files, you'll find that now I have access to the materials now. So let's say I pick one of these thatch roof. I want to change it to this one. I don't like what is happening. I want to change it to this one. Come down here to the albedo. I'll quickly grab this, the one with the black, and I put it here. If I replace it, I'll replace it quickly, and then I will now quickly come in here, click on one of them again, go to the material here where the opaque is material. You come in here and say, I'm going to go to universal render. I think I will go to, let me try nature and speak 3. So immediately I will see this. So 3 is this way leaves are made actually. So you can say I borrowed from a concept from leaves or how hair are made. This is how leaves are made. This is the the trick to get leaves made. When leaves are made, there's some other parts you can't see are all black and they are hidden. So let me quickly go. I can just quickly go back to the universal lit, and I will just come here. Under here, if I click on alpha clipping under the material, it will give me the same effect too. I can control how I want it to cut away the parts I don't need. So that's how I was able to make this thatch roof, cheat it all through, and make it. So now let me just quickly add a terrain and quickly add the terrain. So quickly, let me just quickly add the terrain. So to add the terrain to this scene, I will quickly just say, come here, right click, 3D object, and terrain. You give me a terrain, and let me reduce the size. It's too heavy, it's too huge. Let me make it like come to the settings of the terrain. Scroll down to the size, resolution, mesh resolution of terrain is 1000 by 1000. I'll make it 100 by 100. I wish I had more time, but time flies when you're having fun. So yeah. So I was able to get it down. So let me make it. I think I make it 50 by 50, and then I'll make it. Let me take this 60 instead. No, let's make it 6. Okay. So now I'll come in here. Now we have this small terrain where we can do what we want to do quickly. I will select all the. Sorry, I'll select this. So one thing I like to do quickly is I quickly like making a prefab. So let me right click, make a prefab folder, quickly folder, call it prefab, enter, drag this file into this prefab variant, and now I can drag this into the scene now, and I have a prefab variant. I just put this off so I can work on this instead. Use the rotate tool to flip it by I want it to face the 180. I'm really sorry we don't have enough time to finish this class. I really wish I could finish it, but this quickly shows you how you can make assets in a cheap assets, like, and make it look amazing. These trees are not looking proper. Let me go into the assets. This one, sorry. Let me go into this. Fix this. The branches for the tree. I didn't go to the hot, and yes. So the material for that. Okay, I didn't bring that in. That's why it was lost. It's there. So I need to just go into Unity class, the wood fence, textures. These are the files for that particular branch. So I can just drag this into Unity and dump it here. Hopefully automatically updates. No, it didn't update, so I'll just do this. Click on this and then drag the albedo into the base map, and automatically you can see, and then just add the normal map to it. Fix, then we have that. So that's how you can make convince on just like that. We have a hot looking, like we did a lot of work for high quality, and if a player could walk up to it, it will look convincing. If we had more time, I could have done that. I could have fixed that. So if you notice that looking to fix this now, you can see this issue. This issue is very simple to fix. Unity is just saying doesn't see, it's calculating only one side, and it was designed like that for you to not waste, like to help save resources, right? So let me open that and then look for this. Let me look for the roof. So this. So if I come in here to the inspector, the materials, if you come here, you will see render face. It's only front. I want it to render both, and then automatically you will see both sides will show now. So that's how you fix that. And yeah, that's how you make a cheap hut with textures and low poly and flat planes to look at least good enough to use engine. If we had more time, we would have fixed all the sharp edges with a blur, but we don't have that time, and we just have to make do with. We just have to quickly make sure the course is complete. I wish if I have more time, if you can come to my page, I will try and finish up this course separately, and then find a way to put the video up so that we can have a complete use case of this in-game, because I feel like we have 5 minutes more. But meanwhile, while the time is over, I say 5 minutes more. Let's just quickly do what we can do. Let's quickly do some terrain moves, right? So the terrain moves now are simple. We just quickly let me quickly make a new prefab. I think the prefab I made earlier was lacking. So let me hold this, drag in here, make a new prefab variant. This is a different one. I'll hide this now and bring this new variant into the scene. Yes. So this is more complete prefab. And then I can close this. I don't it's fine. Let's just leave this there. So let's quickly turn this terrain into let's see if we can make this terrain look good at this. So to do that, it's quite simple. What we need to do is make this 180, flip it round. Sorry, there's something that has a different center there, so that's fine. Okay, bring it forward. Okay, so now click on the terrain and just quickly paint some grasses. I don't know if we have enough grass here. I don't think we do. Yeah, we don't have it. I don't think we do have enough grass here, but I didn't bring in. We don't have enough time. It's just 4 minutes more. Let's see what we can do. So I'll go to Windows, Project Manager, Package Manager, sorry, and bring it in, and then I'll go change this from project to my assets, and I will type what do I type? Let me see. Oh, you don't even need to. I think it's fine as is. Let me see. Grass. Or let me just say, I think we have the default grass we can use. So let's quickly add some grass to the terrain. I'll go to the paint, click on this one. It's paint. I don't want to rise the terrain. We don't need to. We can quickly do that if we want to. So let's quickly see if we can just mess around with terrain. So we just quickly make some, just do some undulations if we want to, but we don't. So now let's do textures. Quickly change that to paint texture, and let's say add terrain layers. Create terrain layers and call it. Let's look for grass. Grass. Wow, no grass. I didn't happen to bring in grass. Wow. So, but like we just have 3 minutes more. Yeah. So let me see if I can look for grass here. Shit. So we don't have enough grass here. I don't think we have enough grass to use. It's a 3 MB. Let's see if I can. Let me see if I can borrow grass from this and get this in. But that's just exactly. This is also a foliage. I can import this into the scene. If we had more time, I could have shown you how we could have shown you grasses, how to put the terrain texture, and we don't have that time. I think I spent all the time trying to, but at least we're able to make the asset and bring it into Blender, into Unity, and show you how that was done. So this is the grass. I can quickly see if I can paint this in. Okay, so let's quickly go back into the scene, and then let's click on the terrain, and let's get this grass details. Click on this, add grass texture. You come in here, pick a 2D grass. Let's take this one quickly, and I will just say, then add it. Say add. Now, if I come in here and I paint, you can quickly paint grasses in the scene, and you can hold your control to clean up the grass from where you don't need it to be. So we don't want it to be in the house. We don't want grasses in the house. So you can just quickly clean up and then just control and then clean up the middle. Let's just, so if we had more time, we could have put a terrain and then at the same time quickly, quickly do some designs that would have, but we don't have enough time. So even, and one of the beauties about adding grass, once you add the grass, you can easily just go back into edit mode, say edit grass, and then just change the height to 0.3, 0.2, and then change this to 0.5. And then you can see the grass as they change in the scene. You see they begin to look, And the Unity is designed in a way that if before I go from the grass, they don't show, so you don't take more space in your can clean scantily just to make it look good. So that's just, if we had more time, we could have done this. But you can see how we can quickly make objects that are not expensive in Unity, low poly, and use textures and lighting just to trick out objects that look cool. And this asset can be moved from anywhere from mobile to PC, and it will work fine and not be expensive and still look like there's amount of work that was put into it. So I hope I was able to do enough. Time is up, and I hope to see you guys next time. And if you follow my channel, I will try and finish this up and put it up there. Thank you.